welcome to the studio and welcome to another episode of Local Focus. Big guest today. As a matter of fact, we've only had two guests that have ever made a return appearance on the show, if my memory serves me correctly. Jordan Bird being one, and I think Aiden Chavez has been on with us twice. So we're excited to have Zach Vigil back. Zach, welcome back, man.
Man, thank you. It's always a pleasure coming back.
I did not realize, it's been almost 2 years since we had you on the show.
Yeah, time goes by fast.
Right? And so a lot has happened in that time, I guess. I didn't think it was that long, but so we had you on pre-COVID, is that right?
Yeah, right as COVID hit.
Okay, all right. So how did that affect you?
COVID itself?
Yeah.
Man, COVID, it did a lot of things to me and to a lot of athletes around the community.
Right.
It stopped us from our recruiting ways. Like, we couldn't go out as much and get noticed more. We had to do everything online. Right. So that really affected me and my recruiting part. I'd say that it just stopped us from coming together as a team.
Right.
It really did a lot to athletes, and I don't think people notice that how much that COVID-ness has affected not just all the athletes around the world, but New Mexico athletes especially, because we don't get that much recognition as it is, and how are we going to do our part in getting recognized when we can't go out and do all these little things that we have to do for recruitment, you know?
Well, and I think we're going to start to see it now, maybe this year and even next year, because everyone's free COVID year plus the transfer portal all kind of happening at the same time. It really, really makes it tough on high school kids, because now if I'm a coach and I got 1,000 kids in the transfer portal, right, and plus my seniors get a free year, why do I even need to gamble on a kid that's coming out of high school, right? That's the mindset of some coaches, right? So that makes it tough.
Yeah, it makes it tough for a lot of kids, especially my class, because like you said, there's that transfer portal and the senior year thing. So it made it tough for my class especially. I think the younger generation under me would be better, but it just made it tough for us. But just at the end of the day, you just got to show these coaches why they should choose you and gamble on you, like you said, other than these transfer portal recruits.
Now, I mean, not everyone was on the field as much as your freshman and sophomore years, right? They say junior film is really important, right?
Yeah.
But that's kind of the most important year, and that's the year that kind of got affected, right? But, I mean, you were in a good place where you were already putting up numbers the previous 2 years, but there's guys that didn't get any junior film. That had to hurt them a lot.
Yeah, that hurt them a lot. That hurt me a lot, too. Junior film is probably one of the biggest films you could have as a recruit. All the coaches want to see your junior film because it shows them the potential you could have going into your senior year. So when I didn't have that film, it really took a backlash on me, and it really affected me. And I only played 4 games my junior year, so it was really hard and really, I'd say, just tough on everybody that's trying to get recruited.
What did that do to you guys mentally, and you in particular, right? Obviously, you had to have a dream school and a list of backups probably, right? But then when this COVID hit, this junior year, you talked about 4 years. Was there doubt? Did doubt creep into your mind? Man, this is going to screw me up pretty bad.
Yeah, there's definitely some doubt in my mind because of the COVID years. Just like I was saying before, the junior year is the most important film. And I didn't have that film because we only played 4 games. But there's other states that were playing a full season, and it kind of pushed us back and pushed me back in my recruiting process, because a lot of coaches were wanting to see my junior film, and they could only see 4 games, so that's all I could give them.
Now, what about, the online workouts and all this stuff, right? That dramatically changed what you guys were doing, right?
Oh, yeah. Just from right now compared to when we're working out in quarantine, it's so much different and so much better now, because we just hop on the phone, and there'd be some kids that don't even do the workouts. They're half doing them, basically. So I think but props to Coach Pannoni, though, because he had us in every single day of the week doing workouts and meetings and all of these little things over the phone, because he was taking advantage of it,
Yeah, and I saw a lot of that on social media. It seemed like he kind of, instead of, moaning about it, he kind of embraced it, and he got you guys to embrace it, and it looked like you guys were putting in the work.
Yeah, he was definitely embracing all of it. He was definitely taking advantage of it. We'd have trainers from the east side training us over the phone, and he did a lot for us, and I give him so much praise. And he put us like on the map basically, and he just did so much for us, and he did it for his family too. And rest in peace, his wife. She just died last night. And he just put us before he could see her, and I know it meant so much to him to like just embrace us as a family.
Since you brought it up, I don't think a lot of people know that about Coach Pannoni. Like, he had a lot going on in his life when he took this job, right? I mean, since you brought it up, do you want to touch on that a little more?
Yeah, so Coach Pannoni, he basically, he moved back to New Mexico to be with his family, be with his daughter, so because his wife was dying and she was like in critical condition. So she wanted his daughter to see his mom and be there for his mom for her last couple months, however that long that'd be. And we didn't know. No one knew like when her last time would be. So it was always like heartwarming when he would come to practice, because he would always be there before us and always stay after late, even though he had a wife that was in critical condition at home. And we would tell him like, take some time off, like go see your wife. We got this as players. So I just give a lot of props to that man, because behind the scenes, no one knows what was going on, but in front of the scenes, everyone just thinks he's fine. Everyone thinks everything's all right, but it wasn't like that.
And I mean, how difficult does that have to be? You have a dying spouse at home, and then come to practice every day, manage 80 of you knuckleheads every day, right? Like, that's a lot on a plate.
Oh no, that's definitely a lot, man. I know I couldn't do that.
Right.
Like, that's just something like not a lot of people could do. But like him, the way he acknowledges life and focuses on life, he knows where he's doing and what he's
doing. Does it help put your guys' adversity into perspective, right? Like, if you think you're having a tough day, or you're having a bad practice, or you had a bad game, and you see like what Coach P's going through, kind of helps put things in perspective, right?
Yeah, man. So like a couple practices, we'd have like off practices, and like the weight room would be off, the practice would be off, and people would be like half going, half doing stuff. And he would always mention to us like, hey, there's other things in life that like, other people in life that are going through hard times. Like, you don't need to be having a hard time or having a hard day, because it's not as bad as you think. Like, I'm out here coming to practice every single day, coming to you guys, coming along and having a dying spouse at home. So we just he would like give us that extra motivation, that extra edge to keep us going and to do it for his wife, honestly.
Right. I'm glad you shared that, because that's definitely not something that I was planning on talking about today.
Yeah.
But Coach Pannoni's a very, very interesting guy. Like, I don't think a lot of people knew that side, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm glad you brought that up, because the dedication he has to that team, and then his family life, I'm glad you kind of talked about that. We'll take our first break with Zach, and then I want to get into your senior year. And, all that entails, including an injury at the end, a lot more to get to with Zach Vigil. We'll be right back.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walking to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of Proview Networks.
Don't sacrifice quality of flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, green and red chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Cinnabons. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenpride@abq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs, proud supporter of Proview Sports Network.
For certified collision and body repair, visit the experts at Car Crafters. 5 locations in Albuquerque and Rio Rancho. Visit carcrafters.com.
Car Crafters, it's like it never happened.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
High school sports are back. You can watch every Proview Network broadcast online on the NFHS Network. every moment from every game from every sport, including all NMAA state championship games. Get your monthly pass now. Just go to ProviewNetworks.com, click on the NFHS logo, and sign up today. Watch New Mexico's best.
We're back with Rio Rancho's Zach Vigil. We want to get into your senior year. But first of all, how excited were you to get a full year in, right? Like when you knew that, okay, we're going to get a full year in, it's going to be close to a regular year. How excited were you guys and your teammates?
Oh, we were pretty excited. We knew it was going to be like one of the funnest years. I mean, I personally had the most fun out of my high school career as my senior year. So even though some teams still forfeited, we didn't get that full experience. But like at the end of the day, it was just like the funnest year of my life.
Right. And it was the start to your season was like you had some forfeits at the beginning, right? So it was kind of hard to get that rhythm going at the beginning, right?
Yeah, so Goddard forfeit our first game, and it really like made us like craved wanting to play because we haven't played a game since.
You guys are tired of hitting each other,
Yeah,
right?
we're just tired of practicing and going through the weight room. We want to compete, and so it just gave us an extra edge, and I think that showed in our second game versus La Cueva, like what we want, like how hungry we were.
Right. And so the season, just under 1,400 rushing yards, 17 rushing touchdowns, and the thing that struck me, kids were coming to watch you play and asking for your gloves after games, and that doesn't happen a lot, right? Like, so you kind of became this star your senior year. Where, like, I mean, what was that like? The first time kids are asking you for your gloves and things like that. I mean, that's pretty rare. That happens to, it happened to JB in basketball. It happens to the top of the top. So, what was the first time someone's asking you for your gloves? What was that like?
The first time was probably the beginning of my senior year.
Right.
I didn't give them to them because like I needed them.
And they're expensive.
Yeah, they're expensive too. But like I have a lot of kids that like look up to me. I get a lot of DMs on Instagram like asking like what I can do to get better and saying I'm an inspiration. And so like when I gave the kid his gloves, it was the first Cleveland game and it was mid-game and I was sitting down on the bench and I hear some little kids yelling. Out of all the fans there, I could hear this.
That's funny because we get a lot of hate mail on Twitter. So it's the opposite for us. We get messages too, but ours are just like, you guys suck, do this, interview this guy. So you're like the opposite. You get all the fans, right?
No, it's not all the time. Like,
Okay.
I get a lot of hate too.
No, that can't be.
No.
All right, but take us back to the gloves, man. Like, because that was cool when I saw it.
Yeah, so I was just sitting on the bench after scoring a long run. It was about like second quarter. And I just hear these two kids in the background. Out of all the 1,000 fans, I could only hear these two kids because I can't really hear fans during games. And they're just calling my name, screaming, Zach, Zach. And I look back and they're all waving at me, all like smiling. It like warmed my heart up. And then they asked for my gloves and I couldn't say no to that, man. They're like little. So I just told them like, wait till after the game. Like, I got you guys. And then after the game, I gave them their gloves and I signed one of them. And then that's just it.
And did that I mean, that kind of makes you think like, man, like I got kids looking up to me, coming to games to watch me. Like, does that kind of change the way what does that do to an athlete, right? Like to me, that'd be like, man, I can't be a knucklehead. Like I gotta go ball out. I gotta kind of be a role model, right?
Yeah.
Does that kind of change you?
Yeah, so I actually had kids coming up to me before games in the locker room taking pictures with me.
Right.
And so like it led to like me being a great role model. My dad always taught me that like people always look up to you now. Like you're this big old guy in the community now that you need to have this great aspect of life that kids can follow. You got to be about God. You got to be about all the good things and not let anyone see or do anything that like messes up your image because all these little kids look up to you and you need to have that image for them to follow.
So that's a real thing. Like if you go out in the community, right, whether it be at the grocery store, at Walmart, whatever, like people are going to know, hey, that's Zach Vigil, right? So if you're being an idiot, they're going to know who to call, right? They're going to call your pops or they're going to call Coach Panoni, right? Yeah. And plus you add the kids to that equation, right? So that's kind of a big deal, right? For at a young age to kind of be that role model in your community.
Yeah, it puts a lot of it's very different from other people's lives. You can't do whatever you want. You have to do what's going to make you look best, and you got to have those morals in your life that keeps you going and keeps you looking good. Like me, I have the morals of my life with God, family, and football. That's basically it, and school. But
and you've always been pretty level-headed. Like you've always kind of talked about those things, right? You've been very open about those things, right? With God, family, and that obviously came from your parents. But that had to have helped you kind of just steer through COVID, steer through recruiting, steer through life.
Yeah, it definitely did help me. I've had a lot of adversity in my life, and every time I just look back on what got me here, and those 3 things got me to where I am today. So I just got to keep leaning back on those every time I'm stuck in the mud, and just have those things on my side every time I'm going out to do whatever.
So, limited junior film, now you're into your senior year, and you're obviously having a monster season, but still uncommitted for a large part of that season. Is that starting to wear on you a little bit?
It did, honestly, because I was putting up these great numbers and doing all these things that I could possibly do. And so it just got to me that, like, I just had to do something more. I had to show them why they wanted me. I had to show them why that they want Zach Vigil, basically. So,
and you see, obviously we know UNM, right? But we see that some other local kids are already going there, right? So
yeah,
that had to make you think, like, man, maybe there's not room for me. Maybe they don't want me, right?
Yeah. So when I'd see other local kids like getting talked to UNM, I was just like, maybe I have to show them something. Like, I didn't have in my mind that they don't want me. I just had in my mind that I have to show them. I just have to show them why they want me, and I just got to keep putting my name out there.
All right. Take another commercial break here, and then we'll talk about the big game against Cleveland, right? That's kind of when, you realized everyone was here to watch.
Oh, yeah.
That was the time to put on a show, right? Let's pick it up there when we get back with Zach Vigil.
Rudy's is a proud supporter of Proview Networks.
For your business or your home, Valley Fence stands alone. We're number 1 in New Mexico for a reason. It's the best fence you can own. Proudly serving New Mexico for over 50 years. At Valley Fence, the difference is clear. No fence too big, too small, or difficult. We handle them all at Valley Fence Company.
The energy landscape is limitless and ever-changing. Cleaner energy resources are crucial to New Mexico's environment. For 100 years, PNM has utilized cutting-edge technology and employed hard-working New Mexicans to ensure that we have consistent, reliable energy when we need it. For life's loudest moments, quietest moments, and every moment in between. We're dedicated to providing you with energy now and into the future. All you have to do is dream of what to do with it next.
For 50 years, Clark's Pet Emporium has been your pet's favorite stop. Fish, birds, cats, dogs, reptiles, and small animals. Clark's has built a tradition of friendly, knowledgeable service focused on affordable, quality pet care products and food. Locally owned and operated with 2 convenient locations for all your pet needs, including an extensive selection of gifts for both owners and pets. 11200 Manal Northeast or 4914 Lomas Northeast. Clark's Pet Emporium is celebrating 50 years. Thank you, Albuquerque, the pet supply superstore. ClarksPets.com.
We're back with Zach Vigil. We talked about the recruiting process and how mentally draining that can be, right? Because you're going out in the field, and, I mean, there's got to be part of you that's thinking, man, what more do I have to do out here to get noticed, right? But take us to that Cleveland game, pregame, where things kind of fell together a little bit.
Well, I knew that some of the UNM coaches would be at the first Cleveland game, and they told me they'd be watching me, and I knew this was my time to shine. Like, thousands of fans, UNM coaches going, like, this is where I have to put my name in the engravings. So that really pushed me to, like, my motivation to do something great, do something people haven't seen before. And obviously I did. I rushed for like 350 yards and 3 touchdowns.
On the My 50 Game of the Week, which statewide TV, right?
Yeah.
That adds another thing to it, right? So coaches tell you they're there to watch you. It's a full house, and it's on statewide TV, right? So, and you just balled out. I mean, like you said, 356, right?
Yeah.
What was going through your mind during that game?
My mind, I was just angry that whole game. Like, I was just fed up with everything, the recruiting process. I just wanted it more than anyone else ever has. And I just think that like pushed me to like do what I did on the field, and it just felt great. It felt great knowing that I did my best.
Right, and not to mention you're carving up your rivals, right?
Yeah.
And the quote unquote powerhouse, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's always you and Cleveland, right? And so you're taking it to the best team in the state. You're taking it to your rival, and you're carving them up for 356. That had to feel pretty special. Did you realize how many yards you were rushing for? I mean, did you have a rough idea, or you just, like you said, fueled by anger and just keep running?
I honestly didn't know until the game ended, and I never know any of my yards until the game ends. So it was just fueled by just my anger. And
I remember because James Yotis of the Albuquerque Journal was at the game as well. We're doing the game on My 50 TV, and luckily he was there because he keeps stats very, very meticulously.
Yeah.
Like mine, just like they're not right. I add them up at the end of the game, and sometimes if I'm within 10 yards, I'm lucky, right?
Yeah.
But no, but he keeps meticulous stats, and so about halftime, I'm like, James, how many does he have? And then after the third quarter, I'm like, man, it's getting up there. And so we were kind of following along there, and so it just kept going and going. Atmosphere-wise, that game was pretty intense as well. It was a 1-point game.
Oh, yeah, that game was probably one of the craziest games I've ever been a part of. There was so many fans. Like, I don't even think there was sitting down. There was only standing room, I think.
Right.
And it was pretty loud. I'd say so.
Yeah.
The only parts I could hear, I don't really hear during the game.
So 28-27 loss at the end of the game, right? So now does that what was the mindset after that game?
My mindset was I had to do something more. I had to do something better. I had to be better for my team and just do more than what I did. Like, I did what I could that game, but I had to do more. That's going to make us keep going and keep fighting and just keep everyone up, because I know everyone's heads are going to be down after that game, and you just got to keep them up because we didn't do bad at all. So we just had to keep on fighting and keep our heads straight and keep knowing who we are.
And I think your Twitter timeline the next morning was at like 6 a.m. You're in the weight room, right?
Oh,
If I remember that correctly.
Mm-hmm. Coach Pannoni always has us in the weight room after every game, 6 a.m.
All right. So did you guys kind of think like, yeah, we're going to see these guys again? Or is it dangerous to think like that?
I think everyone thought we were going to see those guys again. So.
We were hoping. We were kind of crossing our fingers.
So I think we had it in our mind that we were going to see them again, but we need to focus on our road to get to them again.
Right. And in that road, I thought if there was a team out there that could have tripped you up or could have tripped Cleveland up, I thought it was going to be La Cueva. So you get La Cueva in the semis there. So take us through that.
Big game. It was probably the second biggest game I've ever been a part of that year. Second biggest game I've been a part of. It was packed. That game was just crazy. There's people on the field hanging on goalposts, and I ended up
that's right.
Yeah.
There was in the middle of the game.
Yeah.
Someone got onto the field. Now that you mention it, I do remember that. Someone got onto the goalpost.
Yeah, but I unfortunately got injured that game. So they went up big early, and then I end up getting injured, and my team shows them like what they could do, and we come back and end up winning.
So take us through the injury. At first, it happened on the far side of the field, so we really couldn't see what was happening. You ran out of bounds on the first run after the injury. We couldn't see that really, that you ran out of bounds on purpose. But then when it happened again on the other side of the field, I knew right away, I said, something's not right. Zach doesn't run out of bounds. Ever. Right? He lowers the shoulder and takes the boom. So take us through that. I mean, it was a punctured lung, right?
Yeah, punctured rib, actually.
Rib, that's right.
So I got hit one play, and I felt a pop in like my rib area, and I didn't know what it was, but it hurt. So I went out, got checked by TJ. I was getting it wrapped up, and then I go back into play, and I was running, no one around me, and my ribs just started acting up, and I went to the sidelines and just threw my helmet off and dropped to the floor because I never felt some pain like that again, and ended up being a punctured rib, and there's nothing you could do about it. Like, you couldn't do no surgery, nothing. You just had to let it heal on its own.
So, yeah, I mean, we knew right away as soon as you went down, obviously there was a problem. So you guys win that game, 35-34. But, of course, the question all week is Zach going to play? If Zach doesn't play, this is not going to be a game, right? That's kind of the mood of the town, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm sure you got a lot of texts that week about, are you playing, right? So what was that week like? Because here you are trying to recover, and the only way really to recover that injury is kind of just rest and natural healing, right? There's no way to speed it up.
Yeah.
So what was that week like?
So that week was it was very, very busy week because I had all these people texting me, and I wouldn't tell no one. I wouldn't tell no one I was playing or what, because I didn't know in the beginning of the week. Like, I didn't know if I was going to be able to. So I'd go through all these massage treatments, everything. Like, I'd skip school, skip practice because I couldn't even practice because it hurt too much. And it was just a stressful week, and I didn't even know if I was going to play till very last minute, till I, like, suited up on practice, like, probably Thursday.
Okay. So what was Thursday practice like?
Thursday practice, everyone was in their helmets and shoulder pads, and I was just in my helmet. So I was just trying to get to move around, trying to get to loosen it up. And then it went into Friday, and that's when we had like our walkthrough stuff. And I felt pretty good. I felt pretty all right. Like, I didn't feel like how I've been feeling all season. So it was just a big old mess at the end of the season.
Right. And so how painful was that first hit in the championship game?
Oh, it was pretty painful because I haven't been hit since that game previously. So it was pretty painful, and I knew I was just gonna have to like just tough it out and try to do everything I possibly could.
What if you had to put a percentage on it? Like, what percent were you that game, you think? I mean, because we could tell obviously on the broadcast that no, Zach's not Zach tonight. You know, it's still there. The injury's still there. What percent were you that game, you think?
I was about like 50%.
Right. So that has to be just crushing mentally, knowing that end of the season, I'm out here, but it ain't me, right? It ain't 100% of Zach.
Yeah.
So that, for lack of a better word, that had to suck for you.
Yeah, just going through like no injuries all season, all my high school career, and then it happens to come down to the state championship game my senior year is pretty crushing. So.
Right. All right, now take us. You got the word, UNM. That had to be a relief. Tell us about that. When did you get the word? Who were you with? Give us the details.
So I got the word on my dad's birthday, and we were celebrating his birthday at my house. And I had Coach Howes and Coach Gonzalez call me and saying that they offered me a scholarship. And so my birthday present to my dad was he didn't have to pay for no college tuition.
Right.
No, he doesn't have to worry about that. So I was just with my family, and we just had a good time because all my hard work came to a success.
Right. Yeah, I don't think you're going to top that birthday present.
Yeah.
It's going to be hard to top that. How are you going to top that?
I don't think there's no way.
Right. And so, I mean, was UNM the dream school? Was UNM kind of where you wanted to be?
Just like looking at like the factors that came into my commitment, I would say it's where I wanted to be now.
Right.
Because I have Zay there, I have Coach Howes there, I have a lot of support from this community already here. Like, why would I leave it to go somewhere else?
Right.
Because I know they would have wanted to see a hometown hero do good here.
And that's always kind of been a thing for you, right? Like, you want to stay home and do well.
Yeah, I want the people that have been here for me my whole life to still be here for me when I'm going up into the ranks.
Man of the people, Zach Vigil. That's why we love you, man. Yeah. Good luck at UNM.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming back in, and thank you for watching, everybody. Good night.